Yeah, very big welcome to you, my dear Gemini, and a very big welcome to those zodiac signs that felt that this combination or this constellation, which exists only once a year, has an inspiration for them as well. You are having today a full moon, my dear Gemini, and so I always do the reading exactly on the day the moon is in your sign, which is then behind the moon is the constellation Gemini, and behind the sun is the constellation Sagittarius, giving you light to look into the subconscious. Now you are here to recognize these opposite signs, right? They're really opposite of each other. That's why when the sun is here in this sign and the earth is in between, the light that is given to the moon is helping you to look into your subconscious, right? The moon is the desire to evolve. It's that desire to awaken and to look deep down by what kind of energy are we ruled by. And you can see how Sagittarius has the 2 cups that he is giving back and forth. And so the guardian angel that Sagittarius is for you is letting you know, here I am waking over you. I wake or I watch how you evolve within yourself in this duality that is constantly pulling at you. Now here we have the 9th house of philosophy, and Gemini is the 3rd house of communication. And the Jupiter that is ruling Sagittarius, the wise one, and here Mercury, the messenger. And so it's gonna be a very interesting reading, because today you get a soul reading, and the soul reading is from right to left, is that path that we go through all 22 major arcanas and have a look at them. So here, one quick look at the yoga position that I gave Sagittarius, Paschimottanasana, a deep forward bend so that I can find my own guardian angel within me. And for you, I have here King Pigeon, and of course a deep opening and pulling back to the feet, knowing that here is my subconscious in the feet, and I look up and I see the light, I see the guardian angel speaking or like energetically protecting me. Your court card is the Knight of Swords, and as you see, he is pointing to the left spinning cycle, which is the soul cycle, from within to the without. Usually on the other readings you get a right spinning reading of 13 arcanas, and here you have now all 22 major arcanas lying here. If your birthday is between May 10th and June 9th, this is your court card. You want to know, you want to get the information, you're researching all the time, you are curious, you want to know. Now, quickly connecting to the last reading where we had the Sun in Scorpio, the message was, you know that everything can turn in both directions. So you had a spiral going in a right spinning cycle, and then you had the wind, which was also a right spinning cycle, and you had the fortune's wheel in between, which also indicates that everything can spin into the right or into the left, as I am doing here with the reading. Right, today you get a left spinning cycle. So let's begin. On the position of the Fool comes the Queen of Swords, and she's looking into the right spinning circle, which is the 365 days the Earth spins around the Sun. And that's the path that we learn here, all the lessons, so that the soul can recognize, okay, I have learned something, I have grown. And she is somehow sitting here, and she is looking into the human cycle, but the Fool, which is a state of consciousness, is looking into the left spinning cycle. So here you are, having as a Knight of Swords here a friend, maybe, of here the Queen of Swords, a Libra, or right, if I put you here, you're running away from her. And if I put you here, it's almost like you can't get quick enough to her. But I just, for now, want to see what else is coming. Let's see what else is coming here to her. On the position of the Magician comes the Water. The Water is the number 61, and that's a 7. And water is important. Water is what the Queen has. The Queen is half water, half air. And so there is an emotional connection here coming to you, coming or behind you, or you are turning your back to it. It's almost like you don't want to recognize the water. It's almost like you feel like that water is now not as important, but the water in the elemental, but the water that is behind in the soul cycle is speaking about when water arrives, you're invited to watch your emotions. Know they are going to be changeable, and do not settle on a conclusion at this time. If you feel joy, feel that fully. If you feel sad, allow sadness to move through you. So you turned your back onto the water, and you are very clearly wanting to go the path of the physicalness, right? The material. But here we have the soul path speaking to you, and the Magician is saying, okay, now he has the cup on his table, and he has the power over the element of water, because then on the position of the High Priestess, which is a state of consciousness that speaks about the 10 of Cups. And the 10 of Cups is powerful because it's Mars and Pisces, and it's the High Priestess that is letting you know, stay in your intuition, because you have the water, you have here the number 7 and then a 10, you have 17 cups, the number 17, which is then an 8, and the 8 is that infinite symbol which is above the water through the Magician. So you are invited here to recognize the emotional aspect that you need to learn, and don't turn your back on it, or that this person is turning its back on you. Maybe there's a Libra that has turned its back on you and doesn't want to know anything about you anymore, and you just now recognizing that, and you just now actually noticing all these emotions within you that are still affecting you through the Magician, which is a state of consciousness of I want to manifest. And your intuition is telling you here, the 10 of Cups, it's this overflow of perfect success and emotional success that you have achieved here. So I think it's almost like it's this separation here. These two, and this is all by itself, but you know, we're gonna have a further look into what else is coming. And then comes here on the position, I'm gonna put this one down for a moment, comes on the position of the Empress comes the Emperor. Now what's really interesting is that Libra and Aries are opposite of each other. And it's really interesting, they really sit back to back, and there's a lot of emotion right in between them. And the Empress that gives birth here to this state of consciousness of the Emperor, it's almost like it's saying here there's a lot of emotions between these two people, between an Aries and the Libra, between these two opposite energies. And you are almost like in between, and you're kind of like wanting to have a look at this and see that this is something you maybe want to understand, right, on an emotional level, because now you're giving birth to the Emperor through the Empress, right? The Empress state of consciousness is this new birth, is this growth cycle that you've gone through, and you understand something here quite profound. I think you are turning your back now on this person, or you are turning your back on Aries. Either way, right? Here you are recognizing that there is something happening here between Libra and Aries, and there is these 17, which is this infinite emotional connection between them, because it's exactly that. It's like the Aries has water and fire in his system, and the Libra has water and air. And then comes you, right? Here you are coming out of this state of consciousness into recognizing, okay, I have grown, I have shifted, and there's a lot of emotions between these two people, right? If I just put them here, knowing that there's 17, or the number 17 in between, then you recognize that the 8, this infinite loop between these two people, even though they are back on back and they're not even talking to each other, something that you maybe want to run away from, something you don't like, right? So you are going into the soul path. Then on the position of the Emperor, now comes the Emperor, which was, right, on the position of the Empress, comes here the King of Pentacles, a Taurus. So there is you who is recognizing that you want to have a certain amount of money. You want to know that money is something that you want to take care of, want to have responsibility over, and the recognition through the Aries position on the Empress is like you recognizing now that the financial status is important, because with that you can do wonderful things. It's not just like, oh, look at me, I have all this money. No, I am someone that is now growing up and recognizing the worth of money. On the position of the Taurus energy, which is actually here the King of Pentacles, is Taurus, comes a Virgo. And this is a spiritual state of consciousness that you are recognizing as also a soul path that is going in this direction, and the direction of the Emperor, right? And Taurus is looking at you and is literally saying, okay, so what do you want? What do you want? You want to go into the soul cycle, right? The soul cycle is calling you. The spiritual path is calling you here on the position of Taurus. So go for it, right? Go deeper into it, because it's worth to know it. Because then on the position of the Gemini, your card comes the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is a state of consciousness. It's almost saying, I see what you're talking about. he's holding the lantern, and now the light in the lantern is now in her head and is recognizing that you have awakened to something through Virgo. Virgo has helped you, or more, Taurus has helped you through the identity that Virgo is bringing, that the identity, no matter what you do with it, you can have it upside down and awaken to a deep spiritual knowledge, a deep spiritual consciousness. Then on the position of the Cancer, the Chariot, comes the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords is Saturn in Libra. So Saturn in Libra is sadness. And here comes Libra. The Queen of Swords is a Libra. And so there is maybe a connection with the Three of Swords, but maybe there is also just this feeling of, I am opening myself up to this consciousness. And it's very interesting. These three cards have the same color. So here is Virgo, here's the Hanged Man, and here now comes the Three of Swords. And so there is a deep spiritual awakening about how we operate and how we live this life so that we can become more higher spiritual beings in a world that thinks sometimes just about the money, right? There is the responsibility about money now coming to you, and you gotta take that call, and you want to open yourself up into that, and you don't realize that something else is coming at you. This, right, success in maybe hopefully overcoming these Three of Swords. Because then on the position of the Leo, the month of Leo, comes here the Fool. Then if you have recognized this sorrow, which is only a thought, which is only something in your head, so it's a past thing, it's not something that has happened, then you can begin a completely new path. And that will be in month of August here in Leo. Leo will give you the call to say, begin fresh, let go of this, right? Awaken. Though on the position then of Virgo comes Mars in Gemini, comes a card that is connected to you, which is the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords are always talking about nightmares, things that, you know, are a little difficult. So you have 9 and 3, that's 12 swords, that's a 3. And the 3 is the 3 letting go of the sorrow. And on the position of the Empress was the Emperor. So take responsibility for this feeling that is coming up here. And you gotta start fresh, you gotta start new, because these 9 are nightmares. But here's the guardian angel, and you can see how she actually almost is protecting you while you're lying here and having all these difficult moments in your life, right? And so the 3 of Swords and the 9 is 12 to calculate it together, is then a 3. Then on the position of the Wheel of Fortune comes the Mermaid Love. And so you are looking down at her, you're looking down at this lady, how she is literally lying here, looking up. The guardian angel here, a dove flying away, and we have here the 6, the number 24, which is then the 6, which is your number. So there is a love story, a new love story that is like helping you to overcome some of these mental moments that you may be challenged. And there is a fish, and there is this 10 of cups, which is Mars in Pisces. And Mars is a fighter. Mars is connected with the Emperor. And so here you have a fight over happiness, over this too many thoughts that are occupying you, that are challenging you. And the emotions, like it said here, of the 61, if you're happy, just be happy, and if you're sad, just be sad. Allow all emotions to exist so that you can now start a whole new relationship, right? A whole new relationship that is bringing you to a whole new level. Because then on the position of Libra comes the 6 of Pentacles. Now Libra is exactly here, the Queen, right? So this Queen is actually ready to make money. She's ready to go into the physical path. And as you can see right here, she is looking over to her. She's looking at, okay, what is she? Hopefully, is she awakening to a new consciousness? Hopefully, she is awakening. And this is a state of consciousness, right? The Hermit is the state of consciousness of identity. And there is a moment, a crisis of identity. Because just so that you see that the Wheel of Fortune is bringing you the mermaid love, right? The mermaid love is this, okay, everything is spinning and turning, and there is a new perspective on the horizon looking at you, helping you to recognize that these night bears don't have to be, right? That's just a kind of identity that you are working on, and it's the number 9. The number 9 is always a completion, which is of course on the position of Virgo, which is the number 9 as well, right? So there's a 9-9 portal speaking to you. Okay, then on the position of Libra, like I said, right, there comes now the 6 of Pentacles. So there's a 6-6 portal speaking to you about that in the month of Libra you're going to have an equilibrium, right? Each one of these two has 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 coins, and these coins are respectively given body, mind, and soul to him and to her, right? So they're divided so that these 3 coins and these 3 coins are for each of them, and so there's a balanced outlook that's coming at them, a balanced outlook that feels that something new wants to grow, something new wants to come to you. And of course it is Libra, and you have here the Libra as a court card, the Queen of Swords. On the position of the Hanged Man comes here this stone, the Amber, and Amber is letting you know that now you can shine, that now you can have, through the number 9 here, right, another 9, have the knowledge of old karma and letting go, and also of past lections in the wisdom that you acquire, a wisdom that wants to come to you about your family connections that are speaking to you on a deeper level through the Hanged Man. And you had the Hanged Man on your own position, so we could almost say you gotta open yourself up to some of your family stories. Open yourself and let go of them, because Yes, let go, about how we let go, right? So sometimes we have to write a sentence down and burn it in the fire. So then on the position of Scorpio. Scorpio is coming here, the Four of Cups, and the Four of Cups speaks always about moon in Cancer, and we have a full moon in Cancer in the next month, so maybe there is a message that's coming to you. There's a big transformation, and there is like mixed happiness coming to you. So in one sense, you feel they're facing each other, and in another sense, you're also recognizing that something is not the same as you would think that this kind of happiness should be enjoyed, right? Because there is also a little boredom in it. There's also a little bit of like, okay, everything is always the same, and so here I am. So recognize that in the Four, letting go, because here comes the path of the death towards the physical path, and that path is something that you have to recognize. Then on the position of Sagittarius comes here the Seven of Wands, and the Seven of Wands is Mars in Leo, and Mars in Leo is like, okay, get over your fears, just get out there and do it, and become yourself that guardian angel, because this is highlighting now your moon, and your moon, right, has now Gemini positioned, and here you learning to overcome any difficulties, to awaken yourself to a new empowerment by sometimes actually do something, right? To open up doors, and also to be courageous in the way you see these emotions, because interesting enough, on the position of the Capricorn next month, the keeper of the taboo is here, the devil. You have again the Four of Cups, so you have 8 cups, but you also have 10 cups here, remember, and you have the number 7 here, right? So you have 17, and then another 8, and that's the 7. So you have a 4-4 portal with the Emperor. So I think through this Emperor, through this Aries personality, something is happening. Something is happening with your emotional side, with your cups. And the cups that are here somehow giving you a feeling of being stuck. But you're not stuck, you're extremely blessed, and you should recognize that. You have a longing though inside of you, but you also have a bit of a boredom inside of you, and you can overcome that by being active, getting over some of the fears that maybe make you sit here and contemplate and think, oh, your life is so bad, but it's not really bad. So you gotta wake up to that, right? And then comes on the position of the Tower comes the Shark. So something is coming at you and saying, okay, are you bored? All right, let me send you, or let me push you into this direction, where the Tower is like, okay, maybe you gotta recognize that here comes a quite dangerous animal. And a shark is a water animal. And it's really interesting, because the shark has the directness, the exposure, and the revealing true nature and desire. It's almost like it's saying, here I am. It's intriguing, captivating, and mysterious. And shark energy is only dangerous when we don't acknowledge it. So you gotta acknowledge it, and the Tower is bringing it really towards you, really like, okay, wake up, because there are sharks out there, and you gotta wake up and not be bored anymore, because that's not possible. Then on the position of the star comes here the Knight of Pentacles, a Virgo, and you already had on the position of the Hierophant of Virgo, the Hermit, and so something is lurking here, something is calling you to look at your financial situation, because you had the 6 here. The 6 here is Moon in Taurus, and Moon in Taurus is about knowing that financially you're secure. Financially, though you are called now to see what else is there with the financial situation, because the Knights are like you, searching, always searching. It's interesting, right? So here comes the shark at you, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna. And here he's like, oh, hi, I'm standing here, I'm seeing you running at me. So wake up, right? Wake up. There is stuff going on, and you gotta take care of it, because then on the position of the moon comes here, diving deep into the metox, the 39, which is then a 12, and the 12 becomes a 3, and you have a 3 here, and you are recognizing something. You also have a 3 as the Hanged Man, so you have a 3-3, and you had the understanding of the 3 that brings you the Emperor, the new birth of a way of understanding your responsibility about your life. You got to take responsibility about it, and then here you got to take me time, right? You take a bath, and it's really interesting because here we have also a fish, and here she is in the bathtub. And the 3-3-3 portal, 3 times 3, recognize that's power within power. On the position then of the Sun, which is in Sagittarius, comes this pressure, and the pressure that you recognize by going the normal path, the path of the soul, is just relaxing and enjoying itself. And she's looking up at these bubbles, and she's like, okay, I'm repairing the body, mind, and spirit that has been shaken by this shark. Something here was pushing you. But you also had the Knight of Pentacles, but the pressure of the everyday life is here, and that is what makes us contemplate things. So when we are in the state of, oh well, I'm a little bored, things are, yeah, you know, I have everything, emotionally I'm satisfied, but you're not. There's something that, you know, you got to learn deeper. So you got to get a deeper look at this situation and recognize that you need sometimes time off. And then the last 2, here comes on the position of the Judgment, comes here this Indian. He's literally pointing at you from behind and letting you know, yes, go for it. Go for the transformation, for the pressure that's pushing you to go forward. And the word here is precision. The desire to do things precisely is useful as long as it does not devolve into rigidity. This 69. The 69 is a 15, and the 15 becomes a 6. So here you are, seeing that preciseness is something that you can maybe point your finger at by recognizing in pressure we are not able to be precise. Because when we do things very precise, we need our time. We cannot be in pressure. And so something is pressuring you, right? So Sagittarius is pushing you, because Sagittarius is fire, and fire is pushing you. And that's where the Seven of Wands are coming in on the position of Sagittarius. The Seven Wands are literally the courage to go against these two fours. The Seven is framed by the 2-4, by the Four of Cups. Letting yourself be awakened and still look into the direction of the cycle that says, okay, well, this is life. Life has, a lot of pressure sometimes on our plate, right? And then, of course, comes on the last position here, the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is also looking into the direction of the small cycle, the earthly cycle. And the Hierophant, on the position of the Hierophant, you had Virgo. It's almost like your identity depends now upon how you see things, how you recognize things, how you see how there's two ways of doing this life, right or left spinning. Now comes the Sun. Beautiful, right or left spinning. And here comes the Taurus. And what's really interesting is she is now coming here. She is now in this position, looking or behind her, and so they all recognize that the physical path is necessary, but the soul path is really what gives us meaning and depth. And here you have the Hierophant. You also have the King of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles is Taurus. And you have Moon in Taurus, the Six of Pentacles, the equilibrium, right, of the financial balance. Recognizing that, knowing that. So she's behind her, Libra, and recognizing the cycle. And she's big behind her. She's sitting here all naked. Very interesting how she's literally like sitting on this stone. It's a very interesting Hierophant. I haven't figured this one out fully, but definitely naked, definitely able to sustain it and then be whatever you want to be on a spiritual level, recognizing that on a full scale. This is what this full moon is telling you. Recognizing that the world is looking over to her, right? The world is looking down, or looking literally at her, because she's so tall, she's so big, this card. She's looking over to her. So you have to awaken to a power, and you have to let go. And you have to understand that the soul path is something really important, is something that you really need to start doing, and that you recognize these two ways of living your life. One is the physical path and one is the soul path, right? And that's on the Wheel of Fortune, and you have these two giving each other, or giving you also, the understanding that you are here now connecting on a deeper level with yourself. So that's what the full moon is letting you know. I hope I see you in the next reading, because the earth is turning in such a way that we see behind the sun the constellation Capricorn, and on the position of Capricorn came the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups, like we know, is about a desire, but also a boredom that you maybe have to overcome and recognize your new path of the soul, right? So letting the soul guide you. So I wish you a beautiful meditation on your full moon, and thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.